Real-time strategy games have recently blown up and Company of Heroes 3 is on top. These games are often quite competitive due to their multiplayer nature, and if you're new to Company of Heroes 3, we have compiled a list of 10 things you need to know. Whether you're just starting out or you're a veteran player in this game, these tips will help you stay ahead of the curve. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the video. The number 10th tip is easiest way to get out of the danger. Early in the game, you will understand the importance of vehicles and why they are so important for combat. Company of Heroes 3 contains an army-oriented armor truck that is quite strong. However, what would you do if your strategy is going straight into the enemy's den and you find yourself in the most vulnerable place? Well, it's quite simple. In this game, vehicles have armors around the whole body, but the front side is the strongest. So, whenever you find yourself slaving away in danger, it's time to leave. You can simply reverse the truck so that even if the enemies attack the front side of the vehicle, it won't do much damage. Remember in James Bond or any other action movie like Bad Boys, they simply reverse their vehicles whenever you need to get out of the trouble. Similarly, the Company of Heroes 3 follows the same mechanism to escape. The number 9th tip is always stay in cover. Compared to its predecessors, Company of Heroes 3 is quite intense. For example, if you leave your units exposed without any covers, you will get annihilated like there's no tomorrow. Hence, staying on top of the cover and fighting from a place of cover is always better. Buildings are usually hailed as the best protection for most units, and the cover is strong whenever you see green square. But if the squares are yellow, then it means the cover is weak. And lastly, if the square is white, then it means there is no covers. The tip is to be in cover to protect your troops and win efficiently. At number 8, we have leverage the retreat function. The thing that makes Company of Heroes 3 so unique is the retreat function. When you're in the nick of a battle, your units will most probably be in a bad position. In this game, you have 6 soldiers that have their own healths. But if your squad is about to wiped out, the best way is to use the retreat function to get back to your base. As soon as your squad get back to the base with their soldier, they can heal and reinforce. You can reinforce any infantry unit by pressing the R key on the keyboard, and by retreating you can come back stronger and have an even bigger impact on the battlefield. The number 7th tip is leveraging the tactical pause. When things get heated, what do? You may desperately trying to win, which is not a bad idea. However, in Company of Heroes 3, you get a feature called the tactical pause. Using the tactical pause will give you room for breathing so you can think about your strategy again. By pressing the spacebar on your keyboard, you can plan and come back stronger with an even better strategy. Your main goal while using tactical pause should be to read the strengths and weaknesses of each unit, upgrade and ability. At number 6, we have a tip on how to avoid suppressive fire. My worst nightmare while playing Company of Heroes 3 was when the enemy would bring their huge vehicle, MG turret, or any kind of badass weaponry, and all my troops would be there with no cover. As you expected, that resulted in a bloodbath, making me lose again and again. So what do you do when the suppressive fire is targeted towards you? After extensive research and trying many solutions, I saw that buildings were a great hack for your units to avoid heavy damage. Moving your troops to buildings will minimize the damage while providing you a great cover to defeat the enemies. So that's how you avoid suppressive fire and heavy weaponry. At number 5, we have capture point as soon as possible. From the very start of the battle, your aim should be to capture strategic points. There are many points in the game like victory points and more. The victory points will have a start on the map that will change in the color of the team who's captured them. So very early in the game, you should go heavy and capture the victory points so the enemies will have to change their whole approach towards you. At number 4, we have flank the enemies to confuse them. Even if your unit is in a cover, that doesn't mean it's safe from all directions. The units are only safe on sides which you have covered, so you're doomed if the enemy squads can reach from any other side. However, to counter that, you should learn the art of flanking, which is just pushing around to the side or behind the enemy to use their tactics on themselves. So as soon as you find them without a cover, you can start attacking heavily, throwing them off. At number 3, we have a tip called make a lot of buildings. Right from the get-go, your main focus should be on constructing more buildings. Select them from the bottom right panel right below the regular units to start building. Buildings are important to increase your troops, unlock special abilities, and keep improving as you challenge the opponent. When you make your first building, you will enable more advanced infantry units and weapons, and the second building will enable the construction of specialized infantries like snipers and more. The second tip is learn hotkeys for an efficient gameplay. To become the best player, you must learn skills. In Company of Heroes 3, you should learn hotkeys, which are quick commands to do certain tasks. For example, you need to press the R key to retreat. To pause the game, you can simply press spacebar. After you learn a lot about these hotkeys, your battling abilities will skyrocket towards victory. The first tip is to have space between your troops. One of the worst mistakes you can make as a beginner is to place all your troops in the same position. If you're using multiple troops, you should put space between them for a simple reason. Let's say that you have all the troops in a single position and your enemy decides to throw a grenade. You're pretty much doomed, aren't you? Well, that's the truth of RTS games since your strategy matters the most. So lastly, make sure to have space between the troops when deploying them. And that's about it. In a world of real-time strategy games, Company of Heroes 3 shines. The newly released title will surely give you one heck of a time, and you will constantly need to find new ways to optimize your strategy and win. Let us know more tips about Company of Heroes in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please like, subscribe and ring that bell icon for future fun videos. Until next time, peace.